Hey everybody, welcome back to Life Full. Hello. This is a quick review of Tiger King. Alright, y'all already knew I was gonna watch that mess. And y'all already should have known that I was gonna get on this camera and we was fitting to talk about it. Okay. If y'all have not seen it, child, y'all need to see that hot ass mess. And the whole time I'm watching, like, where the hell was I at? Cause I never heard of this man. I never heard of this. What? Because this stuff was like recent stuff. All right, y'all. So the Tiger King is about three main people. The main person, like the star of the show, was Joe Exotica. He had like a different last name. Don't get me try to pronounce it, child. It started with an S. But every time he got married, he would change his name to the new husband's, yes, I said husband's last name. Yes, he was gay. I think he was a Republican too, and he owned a bunch of tigers. So let's get into it, child. All right, so it was 7 episodes. It was on Netflix, if you don't know. It was on Netflix. It's called Tiger King. It's 7 episodes or 7 series, whatever. It's a 7 series thing. Seven episode series. It's the first episode was basically, because I had to write it down, was basically talking about Joe. It was getting us to know who Joe was, telling us how they even stumbled upon him, and why we even talking about him, right? All right, y'all might see me look down a couple times. I'm up here finishing these magnets. You can't really see it because my thing is in black and white, but you can't really see it. But I'm doing magnets, so if I look down a couple times, then that's what I'm doing, because I'm trying to finish these out, because they're going out with orders that I am finishing up this week. See, there we go. That's pretty. Anyway, so the first episode, it started off all together with this man. He was a journalist, a writer. I don't know exactly what he was, but he was investigating snakes being used for drug smuggling and stuff like that. And so he was at this place where they was using snakes, and they was talking to him and stuff like that, and this guy walked up to him and was like, yo, you want to see this snow leopard I got in the back of my truck? And the man was like, what, a snow leopard? Yeah, I want to see that, or whatever. So he went back there to the white van. I call them kidnapper vans, but you know, it's a regular white van. And he went back there, and child, he saw the snow leopard, and he was like, yo, shouldn't it be refrigerated, first of all, because the snow leopards is used to the cold? And he was like, no, he'll be all right. He was like, and why do you have a snow leopard? And that's when the guy was telling him about, you know, buying wild exotic animals and all this other stuff. So he got interested in the whole cat thing. That's when he stumbled upon Joe Exotica. So, and when he stumbled upon Joe, he wasn't going by Joe Exotic. He was going by Joe, just Joe, his last name. It started with an S. It was something hard and weird to say, so I'm not even going to try to mutilate it. But he stumbled upon him. I think Joe at that time had like 100 and some odd cats. I don't even, was it that many? I think he had like over 100 cats or whatever. And he had like tigers, lions, lynx, what do you call them? A liger, which was like a crossbreed. I don't know if it was a crossbreed between a lynx or a tiger, or a lion and a tiger. They never did say, but they had ligers. And what else they had? Tigers, snow leopards, cheetahs. They had like every cat. They had it, okay? And he had a zoo, it was called GW Zoo over there in Oklahoma. He had all these cats, and he looked like he said he bonded with them. He loved the cats and stuff like that. So he was doing real good with the cats and loving them and whatnot. So he was, at the time, at the time he wasn't married, but Joe was a hot ass mess, okay? Joe did like country songs where he was singing about his tigers and all this other stuff. And then we saw in one of the videos his husband. Now his husband was cute back in the day, But them drugs got a hold of his husband. I think his name was John Finley, or was it Finley? What was that man last name? I think his first name was John. Them drugs got a hold of John, and his mouth was, oh my God, it was like black all here. It was one tooth here, one tooth. I'm gonna put it in the thumbnail. Y'all gonna see it. Child, that ish was a mess. And he was Joe's first, I want to say, I don't think that was his first husband. That was the first husband they showed us, okay? So they was married. Joe had this enemy named Carol. Carl, that's how he said it. Motherfucking Carl, that bitch Carl. That's how he said it. Look, he had an enemy, Carl, down there in Florida. She was in Florida, and she had like over 100 cats. So Carol, let me tell you about Carol real quick, okay? Because this was the second character. She was, Joe was the main star. She was the runner-up, and then there was a third one. Carol, she had a zoo down there. It was called the Big Cat Rescue. Yeah, the Big Cat Rescue. So hers is basically the same as Joe's, right? She had like 100 cats. How she got her cats, we found out in episode 3. The secret was she was made. Well, she had a baby at 15. She got with this guy, married him or whatever like that. He was abusive to her. She ran out the house or whatever because they was in an argument, and she started running down the street. Her husband saw her and was like not the husband, but this guy. This guy saw her and was like, get in, I'm gonna give you a lift. And she was like, no, I'm good. And so she said he was persistent. He kept riding around, and then he told her, look, I got a gun in the passenger seat, on the passenger seat or like that. You can hold it up to me if you don't feel safe, and I'll give you a ride. She was like, okay. I was like, bitch, that didn't make no sense. Like, if he had a whole gun, he could have picked up the gun off the passenger seat and put it up to you and then shot. Girl, stop. But anyway, that's her story. She got in the truck, rode with him for a few hours, and they was just talking, and then she ended up at his house and was staying the night while her child and her husband at the time was at the house. So she stayed the night with the new husband because she ended up divorcing the first husband that she had the child by and marrying the second husband. The second husband was rich. He had about $10-15 million and stuff like that. And you know how rich people, they get bored. They don't know what to do because they got all this money. They like, I'm just going to buy some exotic ass animals. So that's what he did. He brought some tigers, lynx, all this other stuff. He had them in his yard, basically. And she fell in love with the cats and stuff, fell in love with the man. I mean, he had like $15 million. But anyway, I think he had more than that. She was with him, and he was married to some other lady. He left her, his other wife, for Carol. Carol was real pretty back in the day. So I ain't even going to give it to her. I ain't going to front on it and stuff like that. But she was real pretty. When she got older, I don't know what had happened. But when she was younger, she was real pretty. He left the wife for Carol. So she was with him, and what happened? Oh, they started, breeding and having all these other cats, getting all these cats and stuff like that. Doing the same thing Joe doing. Joe breeding cats. He having people come pet the cats. He taking pictures with the cats. He doing all this stuff. She down there in Florida doing the exact same thing. The exact same thing. And before it was called the Big Cat Rescue, it was called Big Cats on Easy Street or some shit like that. And they was having people come in, take like the exact same thing that Joe was doing, she was doing. She, for some reason, thought she was better than Joe and more superior and all this other stuff. So she targeted Joe and was trying to get him like his zoo closed down for animal cruelty, saying that it's cruel to do these to animals. Animals shouldn't be in cages. They should be free to roam. Meanwhile, she down there in Florida got the damn cats in big ass cages, same as Joe, except for her cages look way smaller. That she had less cats. But she was still breeding the cat. She was still having people come take pictures with the damn cat. She was still having, it was a zoo. Basically, it was a freaking child. But her old high, you know how people are all high and mighty and think they better than somebody else, and they doing the exact same thing. Well, that was Carol's ass. Her and Joe was enemies, basically. Joe up there in Oklahoma, he traveling malls and all this other stuff, having people take pictures with the cats in the malls, like the little cubs at the malls. And then he was going to schools. He was doing like little teaching things. Like he would have the kids and stuff, and he would teach about stuff about the cats and just had them around. And he would try to raise money based off of stuff like that. He was doing all that stuff. Carl down there doing the same thing, except for she wasn't going to malls and stuff like that. She protesting, having him posted on animal abuse sites and all this other shit, trying to get him like literally shut down. So let's get back to Carol's story, because this shit is wild. So she married to the man. Like, she married to the new man, the husband and stuff, with the millions and stuff like that. They getting, they doing their business, the little cat thing, they growing bigger and bigger and bigger, right? At some point, the new husband was like, I want to do something else. And he wanted to, he wanted to take the zoo or the animals down to Costa Rica. He kept going down to Costa Rica once a month. Of course, he had a new boo down there in Costa Rica, right? So him and Carl arguing and getting into it and stuff like that. The lawyer, because they showed the lawyer, because this is a whole documentary. They showed a lawyer, I think his name was Don. I want to say his name was Don. Or was it Jerry? Somebody in the movie was named Jerry. I can't remember. But the Carol's husband, right? He went to the lawyer. He filed a whole restraining order against Carol because she said she wanted to kill him, and he was trying to protect himself. He wanted a divorce, basically. That's what the lawyer said. He wanted a divorce. He was getting all his stuff in order to like leave her. Child, he was saying he was going. Well, this is Carol's story, because she claimed he said he was going to go to Costa Rica and that he was going to get up early morning, and go down to Costa Rica. So have the cats and stuff, have the cars ready, and blah blah blah. He disappeared. Like disappeared. They had not seen this man in 30 freaking years. Disappeared. Okay, like off the face of this earth. Mind you, they got a whole farm of freaking cats. She claimed that he had dementia. She claimed that he because she said like she was telling a story to one of the people that worked, I'm gonna get to that, at her rescue place, right? And it was like, oh, that sound like dementia or Alzheimer's, like that sounds like that or whatever. Oh, they loud. And so she was like, oh, y'all, I had to tell that child be quiet. Anyway, she was like, oh, that sounds like Alzheimer's. Or like that. And she was like, oh, no, I'm so sad. So she trying to blame or say that the man had Alzheimer's. That was one episode. Like, his daughters don't believe it. His ex-wife don't believe it. None of his friends and family believe that this man had dementia or Alzheimer's and nothing like that. They like... Cause she in one or the episodes, not episodes, one of the they showed like a news clip. She was crying like, well, maybe he just doesn't remember where he lives and stuff. So cause she was saying like his memory from back in the day was good, but his short term memory was bad or whatever. So if his long term memory was good, why didn't he go to the ex-wife house or whatever, or call his kids or something? Like, come on now, child. Well, she was lying. So she tried to use that as an excuse and stuff like that. And everybody think that she fed this man to a freaking tiger or something like that. I thought it as soon as they said he disappeared. I said, oh no, she fed that man to a tiger or gave him to one of the alligators. Like, she killed this man. And even in the freaking he wrote it down. If I come up missing, she did it. She threatened to kill me. She did like all this stuff, and she's still out here walking free. And what happened? Oh, I'll get to that one in a minute, because this shit is funny. So, she married this new dude named Howard or whatever. Howard is like, he is a whole pansy. I don't care. Howard is just like, look, I'm going to be nice, and because he knows she killed the husband. That's why Howard was sticking by her or whatever. Because, He said he ain't finna be tiger food either. But we gonna hold right there with Carol and her killing her husband. Because I don't care when somebody say Carol did that shit. I don't care. We gonna go back to Joe. So Joe and Carol, I told you they got this beef. Carol and her new husband, Howard, they keep suing Joe, suing him, keep calling him an animal abuser, that he killing the animal, not killing the animals, but mistreating the tigers, all this stuff, even though she doing the exact same thing down there in Florida. Again, I'm gonna keep saying that. She want to get on Joe ass and all this other stuff. So she keeps suing him. Joe's a whole asshole, right? He got this whole reality TV show where it was like 50 people watching him. And this guy, he making this other show, like this other guy, not the reporter, not the journalist, but this other guy, he was just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna help you with your show, get that off the market, and all you gotta do is do this reality show for me, because this is reality gold right here. And he was like, all right. Joe was like, all right, let me sign, whatever. So the dude, he recording and stuff. He helping Joe set up his whole thing. Child, on this like little Joe show or whatever, I was like, I ain't never heard of this show. And I watch a lot of crazy shit. I ain't never heard of this damn show. And this was like 2011, 2012. Like, this is not that long ago. And he, on his show, he got a whole mannequin that he called Carol. He's shooting Carol in the head. He drowning Carol. He blowing Carol ass up. Like, he doing all this stuff. And she steady suing him. Joe ain't got all this money, right? Like, he had enough money to, withstand a little bit of the lawsuits and stuff. But he's such an asshole. He kept pushing it. And where it was so bad, he actually used her name that she copyrighted, the Big Cat Rescue. He used that in, for his, he called it the Big Cat Rescue Entertainment. So he thought putting the entertainment on there was different than her thing or whatever. And then he even used the cat eyes that she used. He was just using all this stuff that it was just okay, this is you on copyright. So they sued him for copyright or whatever, because they couldn't really sue him for nothing else. So they sued him for copyright. So they kept going back and forth. And he was just steady fighting her, Carol doing the same thing. Why y'all keep coming at my ass and all this other stuff? She down there doing the same thing. He had his crew. She was doing the same thing, but she was doing it a little bit better than him. Because like I said, Joe was basically broke. He was basically trailer park. He just stumbled upon taking cats and opening up his business. Now, he was making money, but he wasn't making as much as Carol was. And I'm going to tell you how she was doing it. But let me tell you about Joe's setup first. Joe was taking people off the street, homeless people off the street, and paying them $100 a week to deal with tigers and all that a week. But they was homeless basically, and he was like, I'll give you I'll have you live in this trailer and you just work or whatever, and they'll take your mind off of drinking, drugs, whatever. You just work with these cats and stuff like that. And of course, and he was like, I'll feed you, all this other stuff. Of course they're gonna say yeah. They basically don't have nothing else to do or nothing, live or nothing. So he offering them this. What he offering them is basically gold. Okay, so that was his workers. He was paying them $100 a freaking week. He was feeding them Walmart meat that was expired. Okay, and he was feeding that to the lions too. He was feeding the lions and tigers and bears. Oh my! He was feeding them cows, roadkill, expired Walmart meat, and the workers, they was going through the meat first, and that's what they would eat. Child, I said expired Walmart, and it was big, huge, industrial trash cans full of expired Walmart meat. So that's what they was eating. And they was living in the trailers. The trailers was just run down, dirty, just nasty. They had rats in the drawers. It was freaking nasty or whatever. But they was happy because they wasn't on the street. Carl down here in Florida, her operation is built on volunteers. So she not paying these people nothing. So all the money that she getting, she pocketing that shit. Like it's going for lights and electric, all that other stuff, but she don't gotta pay nobody nothing. And this lady had like over like 50 or 100 freaking volunteers, and then they was like on this tier system, like green shirts, purple shirts, orange shirts, 2 years, like all this stuff. This one girl, she said she worked for Carol 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. And she was like an intern on an intern tier or something. I said, what? Hey, what? Who volunteers 6 days a week for 12 hours a day and you not getting paid? Like $0. I said, oh, Carol is hustling the out of these people, okay? That's what she was doing. So she was, I don't even think she was like feeding these people because they was volunteers. So like, look, you leave or whatever. They was volunteering on holidays. The lady was like, oh, I don't work on holidays. Oh, but I do work on holidays. I was like, what? You taking time from your family on a holiday to work with the girl? Stop. And you know this is like a 24/7 type deal because, well, not really 24/7, but it's long hours because you got to make sure the lions is fed. You got to make sure it's clean. You got to make sure they don't get out. It's basically, 24 hours because somebody got to be security on there in case something go wrong. So in case somebody crazy want to break in, cut some locks or something like that. Like you got to be on top of that stuff. So she had volunteers, y'all, volunteers. And she thought she was so high and mighty. And then the whole thing, she had like this long ass line of people coming in and she kept putting it on her Facebook page, her YouTube, all this stuff, showing like how the people was coming in to take pictures and stuff. And I was like, yo, but you bashing Joe for doing the same damn thing. Now Joe was charging people like $325 or $625 to visit the zoo and stuff like that. So he was making money, but he could have had like a lot of money and stuff like that. However, he was so busy trying to get back at Carol and be the Tiger King, be on top, he was losing his money. So at the end, this fool was broke, okay? Like broke. Shoot, let me charge this thing up real quick, y'all. My bad. So at the end, he was like basically broke, and Carol came out on top, even though she should have been shut down too. Then there was a third person, Dime. He kept popping up in each episode, like giving his take on the whole beef between Carol and Joe, but they also showed Don's story, and Don was basically a pimp running a cult, okay? Because he had these people called apprentice or whatever, but the apprentice were young women, and then they ended up marrying him and being with him, and he had like 4 or 5 wives. I don't know how many cats he had. I don't think he had as many as Carol. Carol had over 100. In the end, Joe had, I want to say like 200 and something. Because at one point they showed one cage and it was like maybe like 50 cats in one fucking. I was like, no, that's too much, Joe. You doing too much. But I was on Joe's side for most of the episodes. But it was some parts I was like, Joe, Joe, that's messed up now. But back to Don. Don was this basic cult leader. One girl, she escaped the cult. She was telling us how the people got married, how they married him and stuff, and how they wanted her to get new breasts and what else, child? How she just wasn't comfortable no more. And then I think her last straw was when they had killed one of the tigers that she was really like in love with and, bonded with and all this other stuff. Don had killed the tiger or whatever because the tiger had grew up and it wasn't no longer cute. But tigers and all that is cute to me. I don't like, even in their adult stage, they are fucking beautiful. But anyway, and they kept showing them. I was just like, oh, because y'all know I'm a cat lady. But anyway, she was telling us about Don. Now, Don got this big land, like huge land, and he had like a big mansion, and then 4 of his wives, they each had their own house on the property, and he was taking pictures and sleeping with the cats and all this other stuff. he had like white tigers, and he had like a whole bunch of stuff, child. And he was taking the cats. Was he taking the cats to Vegas? No, that was Jeff. I thought Joe had not Joe. Don had did that too. I can't remember if Don had did that at one point too, where he was like, no, he was, yeah, because he was taking cats to his hotels and stuff, and he was posing with the cats and stuff and the women, and down there in Vegas, he would take the cats to Vegas, and he would pose with the, because he was living in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and he was taking pictures with the cats in Vegas and the hotel rooms and all this other stuff, and him and his wife, his young wife, they were swingers, so they was having a ball. And what else? He was just basically like, he was just a slime dog. He was just a slime bag. Let's like he was just because he had like all these women, and then the whole point of, he was older too, and he was just like getting these apprentices that was like 19, 18, 19, no, I don't even want to say 19, 17, 18, and he would like tell them like, look, if you want to move up in the if you want to get out this, because he would have them in like these little, the girls said like these cages type thing, but not real cages, but like cage like houses, and they was eating like moldy bread and all this other stuff, and he would tell them like, if you want to move up a ladder, you gotta sleep with me or whatever. So that's what they would do, and then they would stick around. Like his oldest apprentice was there for like 20, 30 years or some shit like that, and they was basically married. They had kids, they had their own little place, so they was like looking like, yeah, I'm gonna get my own spot if I sleep with him. But this one chick, she was like, no, I'm not having it, and she left. So she was telling us all the tea on Don and stuff. And then Don, his whole thing was to tell us how hypocritical Carol was to Joe, and how their beef started and stuff like that. So that's why they kept showing him. And then he also had cats. And then at one time they showed this drug dealer, or ex-drug dealer, I should say. Him and his dad was like the whole Tony Montana type jank. And he was rich, so he got cats and stuff like that. But he didn't have a zoo. He just collected a lot of cats and stuff like that, and exotic animals. So he had like birds, other exotic monkeys. He had like a whole bunch of stuff, but he didn't have like a zoo. Because they couldn't even get on the compound. And so this one guy who worked for him was like, look, I'll get you in touch with the guy so y'all can get on the compound and stuff like that. And so he was telling us about his story, and how he used to go to the hotels, and he had cats and all this other stuff. And then how again, how hypocritical Carol's ass was, and how Carol killed her husband. everybody on the show believe Carol killed her husband. Only people that don't believe it or don't have evidence is the cops. Okay, that's why she's still walking around and talking out here in the world, because otherwise her ass will be locked up, or needs to be locked up, I should say. So that was Don. I forgot what the Spanish guy was. Was he Spanish or Italian? I forgot what his name was. But he was just rich, and he just had cats. And then Carol, Don, and then Joe. So let's get back to Joe. Joe, child, he had all the cats and stuff. Like I said, he was an asshole. He kept going back and forth with Carol. And he was spending money. Lawyers' fees cost money. So he was spending money. He got married to this guy named John. John ain't had no teeth, but John was in love with Joe. John was straight. Joe basically convinced John that he was gay. I don't know how one does this, but that's what happened. Okay. And then Joe fell in love with this other good boy, Travis. Travis was what, 19? Joe was well into his 40s, okay? He convinced Travis that he was gay. Again, I don't know how you convince him. Okay, but anyway, Travis Joe convinced John to allow Travis to be married into their relationship. So, child, it was this weird ass wedding where Joe, John, and Travis had on these matching pink shirts. These matching pink silky ass shirts, child. It was a hot ass mess, okay? Even the officiant who was marrying them was just like, this is some weird shit, but let's go with it. She was confused. Anyway, they all married and stuff like that. And Travis was high all the time. They showed Travis in one video. He was sweating. He was just like in the camera. Like he didn't know what he was talking about. It was just so like bad and stuff. Travis was saying like he was they never let him off the compound. Joe never let him off the compound. He was real strict and restrictive of his, he wanted his boo thing to be on a thing or whatever like that. So he just fed him weed. He said he fed him weed. I was like, weed? I ain't never seen nobody act like that on weed. He must have been on something else. And I think, because I know John was on meth or whatever. So I think Travis was on there too. At one episode, what was it? Episode 5, I think. Yeah, episode 5. Travis was playing with a gun in the lobby, not the lobby, the office or whatever like that. He was playing with a gun. He took the clip out, but of course there's always a bullet in the chamber. He was pointing at one of the guys working there, and he was like, yo, don't be pointing that at me or whatever. He was like, ain't no bullets in here, let me show you. He pulled the fucking trigger. Pow, blew his fucking brains off. You can see in the video, you couldn't see him shoot himself because he was off camera, but you can see the guy he was in the office with, he was just like stuck, like for like a long ass time. He was like, yo, you all right? Like, you okay? Stop playing. Travis had blew his fucking brains out right in front of this guy. He ain't know what to do, basically. Child, it was a mess. Joe was like all in love with Travis and stuff, and he went down a whole deep spiral. He had like this memorial on the zoo and all this other stuff, child. At one point, he was taking pictures in the sky, talking about, today I came out and I saw an angel in the sky. I was just like, Joe, Joe was a hot ass mess, okay? He wore all these shiny clothes and stuff. It was a mess. So Travis killed himself, so he was just still married to John. But then like 2 months after Travis killed himself, he married this other like 19-year-old boy named Dylan. I don't know, they didn't say if he was straight or if he was already gay, but he married Dylan. And then that's when Dylan ain't really spent a lot of time with Joe like that because Joe got locked up because Carol and them had set him up. But let me get to how the setup happened, child. So Joe, like I said, he kept going back and forth with Carol with the whole lawsuits and stuff. So he was broke. He met this dude named Jeff. Jeff had cats already, but he had like 3 or 4. He didn't have like a lot. And he would sneak cats in a suitcase into hotels, and people would come in there. They would do drugs. They would take pictures and all this stuff. So that's what it was. It wasn't Don. Don wasn't a swinger. Don was just the cult person. Jeff was the swinger. My bad, y'all. Jeff was the swinger with his wife. Jeff would sneak the cats in the hotel in the suitcase and stuff like that, and then they would party and all this other stuff. He met Joe because Joe basically sold cats to everybody. I'm pretty sure he even sold some to Carol, even though she won't admit it. But I'm sure he sold cats to her too, because he would sell cats all over the world. Because he had like this map, and he showed places where he sold all the cats. And he was selling for like cubs, selling for like $5,000. So he had enough cubs to like, he had money, but he, like I said, he kept squandering it to sue freaking Carol. And it was to the point where when he did that copyright, she had she had him like basically, because it's like you can't get around it. So he owed her $1 million. He couldn't even get the $1 million up because he had spent so much suing her. So that's when he started putting the zoo and other people's names and stuff like that. He even put in his mama name. So his mama, Carol ended up suing his goddamn mama. Sued his mama, took the mama money, Had the mama in bankruptcy. The house was about to get. I said, "Oh my God, Joe, why would you put that in your damn mama name?" So, he put it in somebody like he was changing the names and stuff, selling it for like $1, selling the place for whatever. He met up with Jeff. Jeff was rich. He was rich or whatever, and Joe was on the phone with Carol and them doing mediation and stuff like that, and Jeff overheard, and he was like, "Yo, what y'all doing?" Because they was trying to, still take the mama stuff, Joe mama stuff, and he was like, "Yo, what y'all doing is wrong." And the lawyer was like, "Yo, you need to get out of here, get off this phone call. We're terminating this phone call." And he was like, "Well, F y'all, blah, blah, blah. This is Jeff." And he was like, Joe saw how he stood up for him, so he was like, "All right, bet. I'm going to put the zoo in your name so the lawsuits can stop." So every time he would change the zoo would change hands with somebody, the lawsuit said to start all the way over from scratch because she had to re-sue somebody. You can't sue Joe for the zoo or for him to shut down the zoo because he don't own it anymore. So she had to restart the lawsuits. He put the zoo in Jeff's name. Jeff was like, "All right, bet." He put it in his name. Jeff took over the fucking zoo. He took it from underneath Joe. He wouldn't allow. It was just like, boom, it's mine. It was like they wasn't even friends no more type thing. It was like, look, the zoo mine now. I don't know what you're gonna do, basically. And what happened, y'all? Because he took the zoo from him, put it in his name, and it was something else that freaking happened, and I just forgot what happened. Oh shit. 1 second, y'all. He put the zoo in his name. He basically kicked Joe out. Carol couldn't sue for the $1 million no more. Oh, that's what it was. Then they figured out Jeff was freaking broke. Jeff rented a mansion. He rented his cars, Hummer, Ferrari, all that stuff. It was rented. None of that stuff belonged to him. He nothing. He basically ain't had no money. So Joe thought he was gonna be his big white savior, and he wasn't. Like, Jeff basically took that zoo from under him, and he could make all the decisions he wanted to on that zoo. And Joe was basically assed out. So then Joe had this bright idea. He wanted to run for president back in freaking 2016. Was it 2016? Yeah, 4 years ago. I said, what the fuck? I don't remember this man on nobody's ballot. Do y'all remember this man on somebody's ballot? I don't remember this man on somebody's ballot. And if he would have, if he really had a campaign, he probably would have won. They put Trump in office. Because, I was like, I don't remember this. But he was running for president for 2016. Joe ain't had no money. He was taking the money from the profits from the zoo and using it as campaign money. You can't do that. I think it has to be donations or something, or I don't know. I'm not political and all the other stuff, so I'm not sure how the money is supposed to come about when you run a campaign. But I know when he took it from the zoo money or whatever, and he wasn't supposed to do that. He didn't get enough. Because this is the same time around when Travis was doing heavy drugs and stuff like that. And I don't think he got enough votes for president. So he was just like, all right, I'll run for governor. So he was running for governor. Again, I don't remember none of this stuff, child. Around this time he was running for governor, Travis killed himself. So then his campaign kind of faltered and stuff like that. He had 19 or 20% of the votes? I said, see, he could have been our president. Child, he could have been the goddamn president. But anyway, he was the governor. Well, he wasn't the governor. He was running for governor. He was throwing t-shirts and stuff. And people in the town seemed to like him. Because, they knew him as the big cat man and stuff. So, he didn't end up winning governor either. But he didn't let it, bring him down and stuff like that. So, Jeff was doing some stuff in Vegas. He got locked up in Vegas. He came back and then he started fussing at Joe. Like, look, you can't use campaign money to you can't use the zoo money to run the campaign. That is illegal. That's fraud. That's federal or whatever like that. Joe was like, what are you talking about? And the whole time they was doing these fucking tapes, he was asking Joe questions and saying stuff that and he had somebody recording. The whole time he was saying stuff, I said he is setting Joe up. because you could just hear the way he was asking him questions and saying stuff and putting it in, like putting the words together and stuff like that. He was setting Joe up, okay? And I was like, Joe, be quiet, just shut up. Be like, what is you talking about? Just say something, like you don't know. He was setting him up. So they hooked up, Jeff hooked up with this other guy and was like, yo, if you do this, he had this, Jeff had this friend, Alan, and Alan was a convict or whatever like that, and Jeff hired him to be like the maintenance man on the land and stuff like that. Alan, he ain't like Joe. So they got some other dude, James, who was illegal, doing all this illegal stuff and all this other stuff. They teamed up and was like, yo, reach out to Carol and tell Carol if she wants some dirt on Joe. We got it. So they reached out to Carol. Carol was like, look, I ain't getting involved in this shit. She sent the stuff to the animal wildlife and the federal courts and stuff. Not the federal courts, the FBI and all the other stuff. So they started investigating Joe. They want to put charges on Joe, talking about something. He threatened to kill Carol and all this other stuff, or he hired somebody to kill her. I said, this man been threatening her life since 2011 or whatever like that. And now y'all trying to, if he wanted to kill her, he would have been killed her. After all that stuff that happened, even after she took his mama's house and all this other stuff, she would have been killed, that woman. Or whatever. He wouldn't have waited or hired somebody. He would have just did it himself because he had guns. He knew how to shoot. Like, he knew how to do all this stuff. They was setting him up. They was getting him on record, talking about they didn't even have him on record. They had Jeff on record saying, this is how you would get to her house. This is how you should shoot her. This is how you should kill her. All this other stuff. Jeff was on the phone talking to Alan, basically setting it all up, and they had it on record where he was basically feeding him the words to say that Joe paid him $3,000. Joe, like, I paid him $3,000 because he said he was leaving, and Jeff told me to give him the money. So, Alan talking about well, apparently I chickened out and didn't go down there and kill her and stuff because he went to South Carolina. I said, fool, you was never trying to kill nobody anyway. So they basically set Joe up. Joe went to jail for murder for hire, which was bullshit. And then they wanted, while he was in jail, they wanted to trump up all these other charges, like 19 other charges on him for animal cruelty, killing 5 tigers, what else was it? Some other stuff, but it never was about the campaign money, I don't think. It was all about animal cruelty. And you know, PETA and all the animal rights people, they gonna back it up and make him an example and shit like that. So they ended up giving him like 22 years in jail or whatever. While Jeff's ass, who set the whole fucking thing up, and Carol ass, who down there doing the same exact shit as Joe, but she ain't in jail. I still ain't understand that. I'm like, and then Don asked who done killed the lady who escaped the cult. She said that Don killed cats once they reached a certain age. It was no longer cute. He would put them in a gas chamber and kill them. So they had all this evidence on all these people, but they just went after Joe. And I was just like, yo, if you're gonna get one, you need to get them all. That's not right. Like, that's not right at all. And because they basically set Joe up to take the fall. And then Jeff asked, he claimed that he ain't want to be tied to the zoo no more or whatever. So he gonna build his own new zoo out in Oklahoma. Was it Oklahoma or Texas? Somewhere. I think it was Texas. And he was gonna build like this whole new big zoo and all this other shit. And he was gonna be with this dude, Tim Stark. And Tim Stark was just basically giving his input on different things. Because he was supposed to be friends with Joe, and he turned his back on fucking Joe. And then the whole thing was Jeff was still like bullshitting because he was still broke. Like, he didn't have the money for this big ass zoo. He had Tim doing all the fucking like not weed eating, but like moving the dirt and stuff to, you know, make the land a certain way or whatever. He had Tim doing all this. Tim was like, he was working 16 hours every day. And then he found out that Jeff was broke. And so then he was talking about something he was going to get back at Jeff. I was like, we could have all told you Jeff's ass was broke, Tim. Like, come on now. But so I don't even think they opened up the big ass zoo in Texas. I don't know what happened to the cats in Oklahoma. Did they say where they did with the cats? I don't know what happened to the cats in Oklahoma after Jeff basically bailed on the fucking zoo after Joe went to jail because he didn't know what the he was doing to begin with. At one point, he was up here giving the damn cats balloons and shit and popping them. I mean, the tigers and lions, they seemed like they was having a good time. But still, you got plastic all in the latex all in the goddamn cage. Then they, come on now. But this shit was wild, okay? That was wild. And I know I'm all over the place. But this is how that freaking Netflix series was. It was basically all over the place. Some girl, she lost her freaking arm. One of the tigers ate her damn arm or whatever. She was working for Joe. She was just like, when she pulled her arm out, like the meat came off and stuff or whatever. So she still had her hand when she went to the hospital because she was still able to write. But the doctor said it would take 2 years of reconstructive surgery to get her arm back. So she was just like, F it, cut it off. And she was discharged from the hospital in like 5 days. So she was working for Joe. Then we was, he was a W amputee. I said, oh God, the tigers got him too. And they was like, no, he fell from a zip line. I said, oh, okay. But he basically had his legs chopped off because they was doing him no good, all together and stuff. So he had them chopped off. He was still Joe's friend to the end, but they really didn't ask him any questions. They was asking other people questions, and they was like turning their back on Joe. I was just like, yo, y'all is just ridiculous. And, this is the thing right here, right? At one point, Joe was in a cage, right? He in the tiger cage, it was the lions. Was it the lions or the tigers? Child, it was one of them. He was doing, like a little film. They was recording him and stuff like that. He said they set him up for the lions, the tiger, to kill him or whatever. They put cologne on his feet. So I guess it's like a pheromone or something like that. Child, here go, they showed Carol, right? Because the tiger, was it a tiger or a lion? One of them. They was sniffing his feet, playing with him. And he was like, come on now, get off me. And then at one point, the damn tiger grabbed his foot. He fell and it was dragging him. So he pulled out his gun and just shot him up in the air and then, killed the animal. So he was like, y'all son of a bitches, y'all tried to kill me. He was like, get back, bitch, you motherfucker. I will fucking kill you, bitch. I was like, Joe, calm down. Don't kill the tiger. So he was like, they put cologne on there. While they was recording, nobody came in there to try to help him or nothing, y'all. So I was like, yo, Joe, you got to get out. Because these people, you can't trust these souls. Because nobody dropped the camera. Nobody dropped nothing. They was like still recording like he was just playing tag with the fucking cat. But anyway, they showed fucking Carol, right? She was like, everybody knows if you want to kill somebody, you don't put cologne on their feet. You put sardine oil. You put cologne on their feet. The tigers is going to play with you. If you want to kill them, you put sardine oil. Me and my girlfriend was just like, was that a confession? So you then doused your husband in sardine oil, and then that's how the tiger swallowed the pole like that. Girl, they need to investigate. And Joe was saying like, you're not gonna find no evidence and nothing like that because the tiger's belly is so has a lot of acid in it, so the bones will dissolve and stuff like that. So they ain't gonna find it. They is never gonna find their husband, like ever. I was just like, yo, did Carol just say that out loud? Like, for real? Like, what? So yeah, Carol was bogus as hell, and I think she's still down there in Florida running her place. And this shit was so crazy because it's like, yo, it's the same exact setup as fucking Joe's. She doing the same thing. And nobody was just like, everybody was just like, oh yeah. Peter was like, oh yeah, we need to stop her. Stop Joe. We need to stop it. And it was just like, but why y'all not stopping her? Because I think it was because her name was the Big Cat Rescue. So people see rescue, they think, oh, she rescued these cats from different areas and stuff like that. No, this bitch brought these animals and she doing the same exact thing as the other breeders and stuff. Like, it was fucking crazy, y'all. Y'all need to watch it. And then it was a story on there where this one guy had like 89 cats and bears and all this other stuff, and I don't know if he got mad or he went crazy or something, but he cut the locks on all the fucking things, and the damn animals was running loose in the freaking area, and they killed all them animals. I said, yo, y'all could have tranked them animals or something like that. Like, that was just ridiculous. But that's why they was like really going hard on Joe, because they was like, oh, this could happen to your zoo or whatever. But I was like, that dude set his animals free. Joe ain't setting his animals free. But they just kept going after Joe. And I really felt bad for Joe at different parts. It was like some parts I was like, Joe, what the fuck is you doing? What the fuck is you doing, Joe? But then some parts I was like, yo, this bitch Carol, I don't like this hoe. Somebody get her. Child, it was a mess. Joe went to jail. Don still on his island with his cult. Well, not an island, because he in South Carolina, but he's still down there with his women's. Tim Stark got a whole bunch of money, but he still got his pets. The drug dealer, he still had his animals. What I say? I say Carol, she's still in Florida. And who else was the other person? Oh, Jeff. I don't know what happened to Jeff. I don't know if he was still running the zoo, because was he still running the zoo, or I think he gave it up. And I want to say they donated the cats that was in Joe's zoo to different places, but I can't remember. I'm going to have to watch the ending of the last episode to find out what happened. But I don't think, because Jeff was supposed to open up that big area, he was still talking about opening it up and stuff, and this was like last year. So I don't know, because he was broke, and Tim was basically like, look, I ain't dealing with this shit. And the dude that they used, Alan, I think he's still friends with Jeff. And then there was another dude, I think his name was James, the big Porky Pig dude. He was trying to get back at Jeff because Jeff had burnt him. So he was trying to get at Jeff, and he said he had a whole bunch of information on Jeff and stuff like that. So I don't know. We might see a documentary on Jeff's ass and getting him locked up, which we should, because his ass needs to be locked up same way they did Joe. Because that shit was wild, y'all. So if y'all have not watched it, y'all need to watch that shit, because it was fucking crazy. I'm already talked for 51 minutes. I was trying to go live, like I said. I don't know if I said it in this one or another one, because it got cut off. But I was trying to go live, but it didn't quite work out the way I wanted it to work out. So I was just like, let me just do a pre-recorded video. This is probably what y'all was going to get on a live, but no interaction. So I'm going to try to do a live and so I can be more interactive with y'all or whatever like that. But child, if y'all have not watched it, please watch it, because if y'all want to laugh on this quarantine and all this other stuff and get y'all whole entire life, at first y'all gonna be like, what the fuck is this shit? Why did she tell us to watch this shit? But when y'all get into it, y'all ain't gonna be able to turn it off, because I said that look, we watched that thing so fast. It ain't make no sense. We was both looking at each other like, the fuck? What is we watching? All right, play the next episode. Like, that's how it was. Like, for real. All right, y'all. I hope y'all staying safe and y'all got enough supplies at home, and y'all with y'all loved ones, and everyone is good, doing good, not sick or whatever. And if you are sick, I hope and pray that you make it through with a speedy recovery. All right, y'all. I will see y'all later on tonight with my what's coming on 911 and Love and Hip Hop Atlanta videos. All right, until next time, y'all. Peace.